I am having a really hard time coming to terms with the fact that it is already over halfway through 2026. I don't know where the time has gone. I have read quite a bit, but I'm not sure how we got here. Since we are somehow midway through the year, I thought it was the perfect time to do my mid-year 2026 reading goals and TBR update. I did not create a TBR for 2026. I really wanted to go into this year focused more on just mood reading and vibes and deciding what I wanted to read on the go. I have to say, as of right now, I'm not sure if that was the best decision because sometimes I just feel like I don't have any direction. I'm not sure where I want to go, especially when I don't know what I'm in the mood for, and that happens quite often, unfortunately. So I'm slowly realizing that maybe a TBR, even just a small one, would be really great for me for next year. So that is definitely something I'm going to be keeping in mind whenever I go to create next year's reading goals. I think the reason why I went with that was because in 2025, I really abandoned my TBR about halfway through the year. So I thought this year it would be great to just do a trial and see if I liked not having a TBR at all and kind of just going with the flow. And I definitely kind of like to have some sort of structure. I don't think I'd make a super huge one again that's over 20 books, but maybe 5 to 10 books because no TBR is a little bit chaotic. And that was my first goal of 2026, was to just not have a TBR and mood read and go with the flow. And it's kind of working at points and then really not working at other points, especially since I have started school. I was not anticipating starting school this year when I created this reading goals. I had no idea that that was going to be in my immediate future, but things changed, opportunities arose, and I went for it. And I'm so glad I did, but it's definitely hindered my ability to decide what I want to read because with all of the assignments and deadlines and tests and all of that, I feel like I've already been going through decision fatigue. So when it comes to reading, I'm just, I don't know, lost sometimes. I think it's really hard to decide what I'm in the mood for, and so I just end up not reading sometimes, which sucks. And I'm really going to strive for, in the back half of the year, maybe fixing that and trying to adjust my mood, if that makes sense, get myself back into the swing of things and really enjoy the time I have for reading. So my second goal for 2026 was a numbers goal. I'm not really a big believer in numbers. I think quality over quantity any day, but I did set the goal for 52 books for myself this year. That is a very easy goal to hit for me. It's a book a week, easy, nothing to stress over. And I just hit my 40th book. So I think it's safe to say, unless something comes up and I really have no time to read, I am going to hit the 52 book mark. I am well over halfway there. So that's really exciting. I'm glad I kind of stayed on track with that goal. Goal number 3 for me was to try to dedicate at least a minimum of 15 minutes every single day to reading. And I started off really strong with that. I think I actually hit 127 days of reading, like a streak of 127 days, which was wild for me. I don't think I've had that in a very, very long time, if ever. Unfortunately, once again, I started school and time for reading, even just 15 minutes a day, really dwindled down. There are just some days where I'm doing 8 to 9 hours, sometimes 10 hours of school. And then when I'm done all that and I power off my computer, I just lay in bed and don't do anything because my brain is so tired. I just don't have the mental capacity to be reading anything at all. But I will say that whenever the weekend comes or I have kind of an easier day, I really have the motivation to read. So I have still been reading quite a bit, just not every day like I would have liked. I think that's a fair goal to have abandoned, all things considered. Now, it is something, once again, I think I would really like to get back into the routine of, because 15 minutes is not that long, really. I feel like I still probably have 15 minutes a day that I could dedicate to reading. I'm just choosing not to due to being tired. So maybe if I tried to sneak it in between classes or in the morning or something, changed up my schedule a bit, I could kind of swing it and get it to work. But I think it's going to take some tweaking and finessing before I get back into that. Goal number 4 for me was also abandoned, unfortunately, and that was to listen to more audiobooks. The reason why I abandoned this one is because I borrow almost all of my audiobooks from Libby, and lately with not having a lot of time for reading, I didn't want to borrow books or have them on hold and just not have the time to listen to them and have to return them to the library without having listened to them, or be on hold and make other people wait even longer for these books when I might not have the opportunity to actually listen to them when they become available and I check them out. It feels kind of wrong to do that. I think, in fairness of other people, I don't check out books that I'm not actually going to read. It just doesn't feel right to have a book for 2 weeks and not touch it. I haven't abandoned audiobooks, I just have kind of abandoned them for the time being. Goal number 5 was to read more than scroll. And most days, I feel like I've accomplished this because I don't have time to do either. reading or scrolling. Not a lot of either gets done. But whenever I do have the opportunity, I tend to reach for my book a little bit more often. Sometimes I do still get caught up in scrolling through Book Outlet or TikTok. TikTok is the worst one for me. I only have it on my tablet, not on my phone, just for the fact that I just don't want it in my face all the time because I'm really bad for going into that app and wasting an entire hour just mindlessly scrolling through brain rot. So I have gotten better with that. I still think I could use some improvements for sure, but we're headed on the right track, and so I'm going to consider that goal so far for the first half of the year a success. And then my last goal that I set was to try new fun things / games to really encourage myself to read. So that's things like book bingo, reading prompts, 24-hour readathons, 12-hour readathons, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of like a challenge that motivates reading and then also can get you out of your comfort zone. I will say that this so far has been mostly a success. I have done book bingo. I think I did a TBR jar video this year, or a reading prompt jar. I honestly don't remember. It's all a blur right now. I know I've done a couple of 24-hour readathons. I definitely think if I go to do a 24-hour readathon again, I'm going to be doing a 12-hour readathon instead, because 24 hours lately has just felt like way too much. My brain can't take it. But anyway, for the most part, this goal has been a success. I do think there are a few more things that I would like to do by the end of the year. I don't know if I'm actually going to get to it, but we'll see. There's still loads of time, and as long as I lock in, I can do a couple more fun challenges before the year is out. But that is it for my 2026 reading goals update. I am kind of proud of it, kind of not. I mean, life changes and there's no way to anticipate it sometimes. You just kind of have to go with the flow, and what matters is I've still been reading and incorporating reading into most of my everyday life. That's a win. I'm going to consider the entire thing a win for the first half of the year. I truly hope everybody else has had a great first half of 2026 as well. And with that, I am going to leave this one here. I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy reading.